Hey Stampers, welcome. I know it's Tuesday and I know I'm on Monday and it's in the middle of the afternoon, but I am jumping on for a surprise tutorial here because I've had lots and lots of requests for a box that I had posted on my business page last week. So I wanted to take time today and go ahead and give you some easy directions on how to put this box together. Super simple, really easy. You're going to love it. And then also it includes candy. So, hey, how can that be bad? All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the boxes just to refresh your memory. These are the boxes that I put online just on my business page last week. And they hold 3 Ghirardelli squares. And I just thought they were a great way that you could maybe drop off in a mailbox or at a front door for somebody that you haven't been able to see in a very, very long time that might appreciate that you miss them and you want to give them some chocolate. So this is the box, and it opens kind of like the clamshell type. Very simple, all one piece. And then I used for this the fantastic paper you guys know and love. It is in our celebration. And remember, the celebration, hi Cindy, the celebration catalog will be over at the end of this month. So let me show you the paper that I got free with my $50 purchase. It's right here. It's called Flower and Field Designer Series paper. And you have seen me using this lots and lots of times. I love it. It's so pretty, perfect for spring. So that's the paper we're using. And this is the piece that I'm going to be using today to make the flowers. I'm going to be using the stitched blooms. This is a new favorite of mine. I love it. I know you have lots of different flower dies, but these are so pretty. They all have stitches on them. And such a pretty effect on the box. You can see the stitching on the leaves and the stitching on the center as well as the flower. So I use that for that. And then the last thing I used for my sentiment here is from the art gallery. I use the I miss you. Okay, and I think that's a perfect way to convey how much you miss someone. Give them chocolate, right? Works for me. All righty, so let's go ahead and get started. Remember, if you don't get a chance to stay the whole time or you're jumping in the middle, don't worry. I will make sure I make a blog post for this, and you can get all the measurements on my blog. All righty, let's get started, ladies. We're going to start with a piece of the Designer Series paper here, and this is cut at 4 3/4 by 7 3/4. All right, so on the 7 3/4 side, we are going to score at 1 1/4, 3 1/4, 4 1/2, 6 1/2. Now remember, you want to make sure that you're working on this and not pushing down too hard since you're scoring the Designer Series paper. You don't want it to go through the paper. So it might be good for you to use the larger ball than the smaller when you're doing your scoring, just so you don't go through. All right, on the on the short side, we are going to score at 1 1/4. We're going to spin the paper all the way around so that the other short side is up here, and do 1 1/4 again. And that's it. That is all we have. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over on all the score lines so that we can make some nice crisp corners on our box. Okay, very important to have crisp corners if you're going to be putting a box together. All right, there. All the score lines are now folded and creased. I'm going to grab my paper snips Okay, I'm going to turn it over on this side because I can actually see it a little better. It's pretty busy on the flower side. So I'm going to hold it in a landscape position, and I'm going to cut up from the bottom on all the vertical score lines to the first horizontal score line. Okay, then I'm going to use my snips and just cut out a little bit of each of the small squares. This is going to create my tabs, and the tabs are the portion of the box that are going to be glued inside of the box. Okay, these rectangles here are going to be the side panels of the box. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. First, we're going to cut up all 4 of these vertical score lines to the first horizontal. Okay, then we're going to go back and we're going to make the tabs again. The reason I like to make the tabs, it frees up some of the space inside the box so that we're not having a lot of paper crowding together in the corner, and that can affect how well your box works. All right, so that's all the cutting. All right, so there we have it. All the tabs are ready to go. All right, now I'm going to grab my Tombow and I'm going to turn it back over. This is the side that is going to be showing. I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on these 4 corners first. Doesn't matter which 4. Okay, but these 4 corners and this portion of the box is going to make the bottom of the box. Okay, I'm going to take my tab, I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to line up the side panel edge with that fold and just hold it down there. Same thing on this side. Fold it in and line up the side panel edge with the fold. Okay, just hold that Tombow a little bit. Doesn't take long at all. All right, now I'm going to do the last set here to make our bottom, our box bottom. Same thing there. Turn it over. And right there. Okay, I didn't quite get that cut on the score line, so I have to cut that away a little bit. All right, there we go. Now we're ready to fill it up. And these are the ones I used for this, but of course there's all different kinds of Ghirardelli squares, thank goodness, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and put these in. I picked the pink because there's a little bit of pink in the pattern or the design, the flower design, so that's why I went with pink. And they fit in very, very nicely, just like that. All right, and then I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch and I'm gonna just put a little thumb spot right here on the front edge of my box. Okay, now the reason I do that, let me fold it shut, then you've got that spot right there, so when you lift up the lid, you don't have to get your finger underneath and maybe tear the box. So we don't want the recipient to do that. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do is put a little bit of Tombow on the front tabs. Close up our Tombow, and we're gonna go ahead and put down the front panel. Then we're gonna close down the tab on one side and then close the side panel. Do the same thing over here. Down and close, and just gonna hold that for just a second. And how about that? That's it. That's how easy it is to make your little Ghirardelli box. So cute. All right, let's go ahead and do a little bit of decorating. Now I talked to you how I use the pierced blooms, and I cut out a little flower, kind of paying attention to what the designs were on here. I cut a little flower out of crushed curry, and then it's the center of the flower is black because I'm following along with the colors and the design on the paper. Okay, so there we go. There's our center. All right, then I made two of these little black leaves, just like on the paper. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little glue and glue them together kind of like in a V. All right, then I'm going to grab my flower now that has its center, and I'm going to kind of use my fingernail and turn up the flower petals a little bit, just to give it a little dimension. Then I'm going to put a little more glue on my leaves, and then I'm going to just set this right on top of the leaves. Okay, just like that. You have your little embellishment for your box. All right, I'm going to adhere that to the left-hand corner of the back of the box, just with a little bit of glue. And you can see how curling the petals a little bit gives it a little bit more dimension. All right, we're on our last portion now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp our sentiment. All right, so I'm going to grab my sentiment. As I told you, it was in the art gallery. Okay, I used the I Miss You. There's lots of other great ones here, but they're nice and small. They fit on small little boxes. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in a 1/2 inch strip of basic white cardstock. All right. And I'm going to open my Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it to the far right of the strip. Okay. And then, before I put it on my box, I'm going to go ahead and cut the little tail on here. Let me shorten it a little bit, make it a little easier. Okay, I'm going to cut down the center of the strip toward my sentiment, about 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to cut from each of the corners toward that spot, just like that. And that's how you make a quick and easy little banner tail. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that on my box using some dimensionals. Dimensionals. Here we go. All right, I'm going to turn this over. Dimensionals on the back. And I put this right on the front, on the right-hand side. So there you go. There is your box. So quick, so easy. With all that great free designer series paper, you can make tons of these boxes and surprise all your friends. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'd be glad to help you out. Watch, by the end of the week, I should have a post on my blog that gives you all the dimensions. Remember, my blog is thewexfordstamper.blogspot.com. So always go over there and you can always find some great inspiration there. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining me in the middle of the day. I hope you enjoyed that project, and I hope to see you again real soon. Take care.